Dave,
John,
Shane,
Chad,
these sci-fi guys.
Welcome to these Sci-Fi Guys. I'm your host, Dave, and with me is none other than Chad.
Hello there.
I got John here,
I'm here.
and we've got Shane, Dr. Shane.
Good evening, everyone.
Well, today our episode is going to be fitting because today is those of you that don't know, we are recording this on September the 8th. All right. It is today, right? Yeah, September the 8th. Well, September the 8th, 1966, there was a series that started today, and it was Star Trek. So we are doing Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. It's just what a coincidence that this worked out.
I'll say the fact that you landed it on today, not on purpose, is very impressive.
It was not on purpose at all.
Sure. The need for the mini outweighs the need.
Literally just got an email from Paramount too that was like, "Hey, it's Star Trek Day. You should stream."
Especially after you
There you
watched this movie. So,
yeah.
Okay. We always do this. Rotten Tomatoes. What do you guys think was the Rotten Tomato meter? We're going to just go straight down our what I can see on my screen. I'm going to go with Chad first.
I'm going to go with 50.
Okay, 50%. John.
72.
72. Shane.
I'll go in the middle, 65.
Okay, John's the winner. It was
Oh!
78%.
Oh, so close.
There you go. There
Finally.
you go. Good
Very
job,
close.
John.
And popcorn meter was 70%, which
Okay. That's interesting.
I'm sure we're going to talk about that today.
I'm sure we will.
I guess it would help if I pulled the questions up, wouldn't it? On my
Eh,
with the guess. All right.
do them on the fly.
Hey.
Do them on the fly.
Yeah, we're going to do it on the fly. Okay. I'll let you guys know out there in YouTube land, internet land, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening to this on. Okay. These may be a little deep. And they may be a little fun. So, okay. Star Trek often explores the clash between logic and emotion. Which do you think should guide people more? Rational thinking or personal loyalty?
See, I'll go with Spock on this. It's like he had very live long and prosper. He had very reason. Logic was his reason, but he was half human, so he also there's some of the traits that you watch in these series that he leaned heavily on human behavior. Especially in this one, he finally learned. Oh yeah, so it's in between. You got to have some logic. You got to have some rational thinking, and sometimes you got to just go for the gut.
Fair. So maybe this is the hopeless romantic in me coming out, maybe. But I think leaning more towards the personal loyalty. I think whenever you are, especially when you're talking about, trying to help others or help those that you love. I mean, I think anything goes, and I think that's a big part of this. And I think that Captain Kirk shows a lot of this. He's like, I'm willing to risk it all for my friend. I mean, I have a chance to get him back. Is it logical? Is it rational? Probably not. But at the same point, he is trying to do what's best for his friend, and he even says it at the end: the needs of the one. So he's really trying to lean there. So in my opinion, it's more personal loyalty. But I do think you have to have a mix, a balance.
Let's see. I'm in agreement on the balance as a whole, as a person. However, I do lean heavily more towards the logic side. Almost, I think realistically more of a logic until failure, if that makes sense. Like use logic until logic itself is not logical in the moment. Because there are certain moments in life that are just more emotional, and that's the logical thing is to experience it with emotion or to make decisions by emotion. Some things are just naturally driven that way.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are some things that if you allow emotion to drive, then ultimately you're going to fail. And I think there are just moments where that switch has to switch. And I can't think of specific examples at the moment. I just know that's life experience. And oftentimes it's figuring out which is more applicable at the time through failure and then moving forward. And I think this film in particular did a good job at setting up the fact that sometimes you have to throw logic to the wind in order to do what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys all hit the question right on the head. I think I'm glad Spock is not here to argue with me because he would argue with me. But science sometimes fails, you know,
Yeah.
and there are times where you have to live by faith. Gravity. Oh, hey. All right. We can see the effect of it, but we don't actually see it. We just kind of take it by faith that that's what it is. So I don't know if you guys saw that thing falling or not. I don't know if I was in screen or not.
I saw
But
it.
yeah.
You were.
All right.
It was in.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just things like that. I think for me personally, I think it's I'm a little bit more on the personal loyalty side rather than the scientific rational thinking, because sometimes I lead with emotions rather than thinking about stuff. But I like what all you guys have all said. You know, you really need to live life with a balance. You know, you really can't. I mean, unlike this movie pretty much gives you left and right. You know, it goes one extreme or the other. You don't kind of get that nice balance in between.
Where's the logic in that?
Almost like Star Trek actually became Star Wars this time.
Whoa. What did you just say,
Don't
John?
say that too loud. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
I'm
we're gonna get.
No.
You'll
See,
get commenters down below say, "What is John saying about Star Wars being Star Trek?"
But see, that's the moment you
get a
clip.
hold of you.
That is the moment you clip, and then we get all the views from that moment.
We just entered the Twilight Zone.
But that's a whole nother franchise, Shane.
I know.
Red alert.
Yeah, red alert. Sorry, John has gone off.
See, now we're leading with good emotions and laughter.
True.
This is true.
Yep.
Okay. Kirk. We're going to get back to the movie now. Kirk risks his career, his ship, and his crew for Spock. Do you think his actions were justified or reckless?
See, I think it's a dangerous question. Ultimately,
that's why I asked it.
I do think he's justified for a few specific reasons. And that is he abandoned his post, but on a ship that was getting ready to be decommissioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no real loss to the Federation there because they were already ready to just like, no, we're not doing this anymore. The crew mostly agreed to join him. It's not like he forced them. And at that point, that's self-sacrificing on their end. You can't really blame him for their choice. And at the end of the day, like he's just going after fulfilling his word. And I think that speaks more highly of him because he's willing to abandon all of the things he stood for so long to also stand for the thing that he wants to hold his word on. And so ultimately, I think if it was going to harm people that had not been willing, that he was forcing to go with him, that, you know, he's wrecking a brand new ship or something, but it's not really. Like, to me, he's doing the quote unquote wrong thing by doing the right things, the wrong things in the right way.
So I think it depends on whose perspective you're looking from.
That's also true.
Think if you're looking from those who are in command, who are over Kirk, I think it is extremely reckless because you are breaking orders, like John was talking about. You're breaking orders, you're breaking command, and you're going to do this mission that does not make any sense, really, truly, when you think about it from a strictly logical perspective. But I think also if you think about it from Kirk's point of view, this is my dear friend. I have a chance to go and save him, I don't see any need not to. I don't see a reason not to. I have a chance. I've been told that I have a chance. Why would I not? And I think that in his mind, he is justified. And personally, just from watching the movie and watching the story, I think he was justified. But I think just depending on whose perspective you take, there's your answer. In short.
Yeah. So you gotta look at this. I don't know if you remember that in the Wrath of Khan when the Spock died.
Mm-hmm.
That was saying out the needs of the many.
Oh, hold on, Chad. Hold on.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
So you got to think. You cut to the movie right here. You saw Spock's dad talking to Kirk, really getting on to him. Hey, you should have brought him back. You should never left him on Genesis. Should never left him there.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think. He had his dad pulling strings on us. Say you should have walked him through here. Kirk was already feeling that way. He already felt what he did was wrong, but he was just following orders. Now he's getting told you're not going back. Enterprise is getting decommissioned. You're not going to go to Genesis. Off limits. So yeah, he went the route of the wrong way in the right way.
It's true.
He put the needs of the many in front and they say, I'm going to help my friend out. That's where that personal loyalty comes in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think, if you watch the friendship bond between Kirk and Spock, it wasn't always there.
Mm-hmm.
They grew into it.
Right.
Look at McCoy when he had that. Spock was in McCoy's head. Your alien friends in my head. Like, I get it now. You saw him come around in this movie. He did justified, yes, in the right way, but in the wrong, his mind and personal loyalties. So,
Wow. I'm glad to have friends like you guys. Because I thought it was extremely reckless. For one, even after Sarek talked to him, there was nothing that I remember and I just watched it this week. I didn't see anything that said you have to have Spock's body. He needed his contra, what he gave to McCoy. Go get us something and go to Vulcan. You don't have to steal the Enterprise to go get a body that you didn't even know was okay. I know it's a plot hole, to me. And so I just think it was reckless. I mean, there was other aspects. He could have just taken McCoy. Him and McCoy found a way to Vulcan and got it out of McCoy, and then his Contra or whatever it was called would be able to be free and life would move on.
Mm-hmm.
But because they didn't know that the planet had regenerated Spock's body.
no.
So Sarek didn't know that. So that's why I think it was kind of reckless is when they steal the Enterprise just to now all of a sudden. I mean, again, yeah, McCoy also talking about, hey, I need to get to Genesis, and Kirk needed to get to Genesis, but they never told us why he needed to get to Genesis. So that's why I know it's a tit for tat, but I understand what you guys are all saying about how he is justified in it. I just thought that there was other ways of doing it. Okay, we're gonna go there. All right, it's not a question I have on here, but friendship over family. You're going to sacrifice your son for your friend.
Okay, but see, I think then again, he didn't necessarily know his son would be on the planet.
There.
Yeah.
So, like, at that point, he's already made a decision before he knows that. And what his son does was also self-sacrificing.
True.
Which,
True.
in a way, kind of exemplifies, like, well, maybe Kirk's kind of been this way all along because his son also follows suit with that idea of self-sacrifice in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's an oddity there because once he realizes his son was there, he could have backed off. But at the same time, he didn't know who the Klingons were really going to go after first. So, and the fact that his son, again, really defended the others by laying down his life. So
Mhm.
that's where it gets a little more complex. But I think the ultimate part there is the fact that he didn't even know he was going to be there, specifically even more on planet at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was kind of an unfortunate consequence to his
Yeah, that's true. I mean, by the time Kirk got there, he wouldn't have known,
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
that. I mean, when they got there, they found out that the ship was destroyed. So,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, first thought could have been, oh, my son was destroyed with it, you know, which
Mhm.
where was his wife, Carol? She was the one that did Genesis. His son did part of it, but she was
Yeah.
like the head cheese. But I'm guessing it's like movie thing. Oh, let's not put her in it. Let's make it a relationship with his son. Well, you guys know, I don't know if you guys know this. This movie was written directly after Wrath of Khan got into the theaters. Once it went into the theaters and they saw how big it was, they were like, okay, we got to do a sequel immediately. Because Wrath of Khan was released in 82. This was released in 84. Of course, you know,
Mhm.
back then it took roughly 2 years to
Yeah.
go ahead and do
Yeah.
stuff. This was Leonard Nimoy's first movie ever to direct. And
Wow.
he did it under budget. He did it under budget, which was impressive. But there's still questions that we will get into some more. All right, here we go. If your life was on the line, who from science fiction, it doesn't have to be Star Trek, would you trust most to save you? And I already know John's answer.
Mm.
God, if you're that confident in my answer, that makes me question the fact that I'm not that confident in my answer. Oh, Lord.
He or she might have a sonic screwdriver.
Okay. Oh, okay. See, I didn't even go there this time, but you're absolutely right. All right. Well, since we're going there, Doctor Who, 100%. Absolutely. I don't know why.
Hey, I know. Do I know you or not?
You do. You know me extremely well because the Doctor has gotten many people out of many situations. My only issue is he has also abandoned many a companion. However, it's usually for their betterment. So if I got abandoned, I know I deserved it. But we did Transformers last week, so my brain was going Optimus Prime because Optimus Prime's loyalty is out of this world.
Mhm.
And he would not leave someone behind willingly. You know, he would put up a fight. So I would trust that as well. But you mentioned the Doctor, and the Doctor is pretty reliable. So I think I agree with that. And he has a time machine. It's great.
Shane, how about you?
So I'm going to go to a movie we did recently. I'm going to go to the Fellowship. I'm going to go to Legolas, Gimli, Aragorn. If I'm lost, I want them coming after me. Just because for some reason they can run very, very long distances at a very for a very long time. They can fight off a lot of different things. I'm like, come on.
You
Come
just
on.
have to
I want
build the
them.
friendship first, or they will abandon you.
You're absolutely right. You do have to build that first.
Well, no, if you just stuck with Aragon or Strider, he was as long as he.
Yeah.
Okay. Chad, how about you?
Well, Shane kind of took mine, so I had another one I was thinking about. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Old Ben, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Okay,
faithful.
so original series Obi-Wan or prequel Obi-Wan?
Original series.
I don't know. I thought kind of like the prequel Obi-Wan.
Well, I'll say you got to go OG power.
Yeah.
Right, because he's had time to hone his power, but you got to go original just on like he's young, or prequel just because he's young.
Yeah,
I can see that. As for me, I'm going to go on one that a TV show that we watched the pilot of this year.
Okay,
in our behind the big screen. Teal'c is who I would go with.
Yeah,
because if when you guys haven't seen a lot of the series, he is extremely loyal.
Yeah,
and he doesn't give up. And there is one episode in particular where they put his consciousness in a video game, and the video game kind of goes haywire, and it realizes and it says, okay, well, guess what? It's reading everything off Teal'c and is like, Teal'c will never give up at all. So we have to find a way to beat him. The game is saying he has to beat him without him giving up, you know. And so, I mean, that to me, that's loyalty for sure. You know, there are many times where at first I thought Jack O'Neill, but then I was like, no,
No, he
and
gave up.
I know DT would definitely say, you know, part of the reason is when they went through, they never, if they would have had a throwaway line where they said, you know, hey, where's the airman we're looking for, you know, and then they would like, oh yeah, she's already gone or something. At least have that where they know that they were out there looking for her also, but they never really said that. You just kind of have to take it on
Face
faith
value.
or you have to think about it. But Teal, you know, he gave up everything he had to follow and say, I pledge my allegiance to you and your world. So okay, this is going to be the final question for all four of us. The destruction of the Enterprise is one of the most iconic moments in Star Trek. Was it really necessary for the story, or was it just shock value?
I think it was more shock value. If you go, I'm gonna go history on this. If you go with it, just the Enterprise itself, going from aircraft carrier, it went through it. It was sunk at before in World War II once, and then rebuilt the same back into World War II. It had 3 or 4, about third renditions of Enterprise just here in an aircraft carrier. I think that's what it was. There was Star Trek was setting this up where they're different.
Hey, don't give him anything
So
for later on. So
yeah, I think it was just shocking. It was, hey,
No, keep going, Shay. Keep going.
Nah,
no. Those of you out there that are watching this, John and Shane have not seen Star Trek 4. So we have a question that's just for them. So they don't know what happens in 4 at all. And so that's why we're trying to keep everything. At least Chad and I are making sure we're not giving any spoilers for any future movies. Let's put it that way. Shane, what about you? Was it a shock? Did you answer? Or
I have not answered yet.
Okay.
It definitely was shocking. It most certainly was not something I was expecting. I think with the storyline, it did fit. So I am going to say that it probably, I don't know, maybe it didn't necessarily have to happen, but I do think that with the storyline, it fit. But it was very shocking just to see that happen, for sure.
John?
I don't necessarily think it was either, just because it definitely wasn't like necessary. I mean, A, plenty of other ships. B, they could have kept the Enterprise going. But also, like, I feel like decommissioning ships, aircraft, and like I feel like that'd be a part of a normal routine. So I really don't. It doesn't seem like they would have that much attachment just because it's theirs. You know, like, no, here's your new assignment, just go do it. It just very much seems like that would be more the play. However, using it in that way doesn't necessarily seem like crazy shock value because they already set up the fact like, oh, it's probably going to be decommissioned. So it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of on a catch-22 there because they set it up one way and then like, yeah, they blew it up. But like, I don't know. It wasn't overly shocking that they would sacrifice it anyway. I mean, he knew it was going out, so might as well use it to his advantage.
Which was wrong in the first place. You would not decommission your flagship when another one is a prototype and not in production.
No. But the overall idea of decommission though would have been
But
normal.
I understand. And also, I don't know if you guys haven't seen the motion picture. So the what they explain also in the motion picture is basically they take the ship from the original series and then they refit it. And that's why it looks all kind of squarier. You know, the nacelles look a little different. You know, it was just a refit. They basically took it and they beefed it up, you know, so it would last longer and all that. You know, they took the nacelles and they instead of going straight up and down onto the main fuselage, they kind of angled them back a little bit, you know, to sleek it out and all that. But that's just what it was. It was a refit. I think it was strictly for shock value, because everything on this movie that I read Paramount learned their lesson from Wrath of Khan. Everyone knew on Wrath of Khan that Spock was going to die. It came out way earlier. It was like pre-Twitter, right? It would be like, you say something on Twitter and then everyone knows about it. And
You heard it
Twitter
to the
wasn't even
grapevines.
around back then, and it leaked out that Spock was going to die there. So they kept everything in this movie under wraps. They actually had code names for the movie, all the different actors, and it was quite humorous to me. I think the story could have been done several different ways. However, I think it was appropriate that they were going to retire the ship anyway.
Yeah.
And this way, Kirk got to say goodbye basically on his own terms.
Mm-hmm. True.
So I kind of agree with you guys on that a little bit. But I still think it was basically for shock value. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one more question that is only for John and Shane. Chad, I'm going to mute you if you say anything. All right. What happens in Star Trek 4? And you can tie it right into. I mean, we'll fix this one later. Chad is probably not going to do, and I'm not going to do too much on that, if any, just because I don't want to bring forth what happens in 4. But what do you guys think happens in 4? So we're at the end of the movie. Spock is starting to get his memory back. They're all on Vulcan. Go.
John, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I don't care.
Oh, geez.
And rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, John wins. Go, John.
I technically cheated. Anywho, I think it. Well, obviously they're going home. I only say that because I do at least know the title of the next one.
Yeah.
So from Vulcan, probably back into the Federation. And I feel like that could either swing one of two directions. Either they rejoin Federation and get sent on a holistically different mission, maybe against a specific enemy, maybe because that, just for clarity, that was not like end all be all Klingons, right?
I'm sorry.
That wasn't like the end all be all of the Klingons as a whole.
Oh no,
just
no.
Klingons,
if you remember, Klingons are in the Federation, and when we watched Next Generation.
yeah,
that's true.
okay.
Remember Worf.
So I feel like they're setting up a fight against the Klingons, especially because of that specific situation. Some sort of fight there. However, personally, I would also really enjoy the Enterprise as outlaws, and they're on the run from the Federation, and the Federation turns on them. I think I would enjoy to seeing that too. I just don't see the story necessarily going that route.
Yeah. I wonder if this so of course as John said, kind of the title I think is The Voyage Home. Am I correct for the fourth one? Something like that?
Yes.
Okay. So thinking about it kind of like John was saying, of course, they're making their way back, everything like that. I get that. But I think at the same point, I wonder if this is part of Spock kind of coming back to who he was, because he's starting to get his memory back and everything. And you see, maybe it's part of him kind of gaining those things back and kind of regaining who he was. Possibly, I have no idea. But I think also, like John said, I wonder if there's something big that is going to be coming with them fighting with the Klingons based off of how it ended with this set, how they defeated them. Is there going to be some kind of revenge? Is there going to be some kind of big fight towards that? I guess that's my best logical shot in the air guess.
All right. Well, you guys will have to wait until we do that movie next.
Oh, come
on.
on.
I don't know
Garbage.
when we're going to do
Come
it.
on.
No, I because I don't want to I want y'all to be surprised,
Were we close at all?
I can tell you that both of you are correct
About some
returning
things.
home.
in let's just say you're both correct to a point.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take that.
Just leave it at that.
I'll
Leave
take
it at
that.
So, Yeah, I mean, hey, you can look. You guys can look at our thing and see if you want to do it this year. If not, it's going to be next year. So
It's all right.
like-
Hey,
Okay,
real
which movie
talk
can
though,
we
Star
snub?
Trek Day 10 movie collection was only $20, and so I jumped
you
on
go.
that because I know we have to watch the rest of them at some point.
There you go.
So I knew to take that at least. So I'm ready. I'm
Is it
prepped.
now?
Very good.
Huh?
How much is
What
it?
was that?
It was like
was
$20.
Oh, darn.
Really?
Okay, I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You might want to. So
Yeah, I'm going to.
we're eventually going to go back and watch the motion picture.
Mhm.
It just, you guys were all so new at science fiction, and I
This is
did
true.
not want to bore you to death because it was a very, very slow movie. And yeah. Okay. So now we're going to rate this. Okay, we're going to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 5 lightsabers. I picked this movie out first, so guess what? I get to go first. Yay for the good guys. Boo for the bad guys. All right. I actually put my rating in our spreadsheet way early because I didn't want to change my mind on it. The good. Let me start here. The good about the movie. All right. It's widely known. You guys will all know this. It's widely known that the even movies are much better than the odd movies are. So 2, 4, and 6 are much better than 1, 3, and 5. Let me just get that out there right now. This story was a well-written story. I thought the story itself was good. I mean, however, and here's the big however, the sets look like they were done obviously in the 80s, but they look like they were a stage set. Everything looked like it was on a stage.
Yeah.
Nothing looked realistic, especially when they were on the planet. That was some of the worst.
Well, especially for that
Props.
time period. Like they
Mhm.
definitely have done better.
Just look at Wrath of Khan. That
Mhm.
was done 2 years before that, compared to that, and what a difference.
Mhm.
You know, even the stuff on Wrath of Khan looked, at least the plant life looked real. Didn't look
Yeah.
like it was plastic plants everywhere.
Mhm.
You know, the Enterprise did not look the same. The bridge of the Enterprise, yeah, they made the little darkened areas but it was too bright, it was too big, it didn't look right. They couldn't get Christy Alley back. That was a big thing because she was super huge at this point with Cheers, which is fine. I get that, but get somebody that's looks a little bit closer to her. You know,
Yeah.
as much as I love Back to the Future, Doc Brown was not a great Klingon at all.
Marty.
I think the way they turn their looks to make them more like the Next Generation Klingons, because if you go back to the TV series, they didn't look anything different. They look like humans with pointed ears. Vulcans, Klingons, they all looked basically the same. Vulcans, Klingons, and Romulans, there was no difference. So I think, again, stylistically, it was some steps in the right direction. I thought the special effects were so. Especially after Wrath of Khan. That was 2 years before the explosions of everything. The Defiant blowing up looked so cool. The Enterprise blowing up looked like a fifth grader did it on an old Photoshop 1.0, or something. I went back and looked at, I know this is kind of a roundabout way to say this. I went back and looked at all of my ratings that I've done this year. And I've got to say it's comparable to, it was better than Transformers last week, for sure. But it wasn't nearly as good as, say, don't hate me for this, Flash Gordon. I thought Flash Gordon was better.
Yeah.
So I gave this.
I don't know about that.
Well, let me put it this way: Flash Gordon gave me a sense of funness.
Mm-hmm.
This didn't really give me a sense of anything, but when's the next movie coming out to fix all the problems that they came up with in this movie? So I'm giving it a 2.5. It could be, I could be the mean one here. You guys all might like it a lot better than me. Let's go with Shane.
Okay, so so I'll preface this by saying I was never really much of a Star Trek fan growing up. I've gotten into it more recently, and I'll say that Wrath of Khan has always been one of my favorite movies. Period. I think it, yeah, just it's so good in so many different ways. This one, to me, the storyline was pretty good, I'll say. Music was really good.
Well, they used the same music, I
Yeah.
think, throughout most of these.
Yeah, it was really good as always. Great theme, everything. I was not a fan of Christopher Lloyd as the main Klingon. I'm not sure if they were trying to go for a sinister kind of thing, but it came off goofy to me. It came off really as a goofy character. But I think that parts of this were really, really good. There were some parts that kind of tugged at your heartstrings, which is what you want. I think that as y'all said, the special effects could have been a lot better, especially when you compare it to Wrath of Khan. They could have been a whole lot better than they were. It was kind of haphazard. I just think it had a lot to live up to coming after Wrath of Khan, and it just didn't do it. It was kind of slow and just really just didn't live up to the potential that it could have had. I don't think, because of the storyline, I don't know that I can go as low as I did with Transformers, so I'm going to go with a 3.
Okay, Chad.
Well, with the storyline, I'm with Dave right there. It was a great story, trying to set it up. But yeah, he's right. The even numbers were the better one of the movies of the Star Trek series. But you look at Khan, you look at this effects of this, they could have done more. I know they were trying to keep budget going on the budget, not go over, and I think that's what constrained them to it. I don't know if y'all remember the original Star Trek series was on a stage built out of cardboard. It wasn't really made. It was just thrown together trying to see if it would get made, and that's what the sets look like. Look, they took the old Star Trek set from the '60s and put it there, and let's go with it. The music, they kind of use it all over, and I'm not a fan of the Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd being the main villain or the Klingon leader, because the only time you saw, I remember after the only time before this, you also remember Dennis the Menace. He was the homeless guy, the guy that kidnapped Dennis and took him away from but he never, he just played a little funny, scary. You can never take him seriously to be a villain. So with that, I agree with David. 2.5 is what it's going to be. It's not.
Also, y'all remember he was one of the villains in Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
True.
Fair.
Okay, John, it's up to you. Bring us home.
Genuinely, I enjoyed the movie a lot. It's very captivating. Definitely not up to the hype of Wrath of Khan, because I remember us all rating that very, very well. Also, not as good as several of our other movies. However, also not as bad as some of our other movies. And if I look back at my other ratings, which is, I think, fair, I think I would have to give this a 3.5 as well, just to match some of the other ones that I think were also at this level. Now, mind you, were all of those maybe a bit higher than they should have been at their respective times? Maybe. However, I can't say worse than Flash Gordon for me personally, but I also can't say much better. So I'm matching it there. I'm matching it, I think, with Contact, Blade Runner. So I think it's kind of on that level for me.
Yeah, see, I did the same thing when I moved in mine. I matched it with Last Starfighter, with Contact, with Waterworld, Arrival.
Yeah, they're all right there for me. So
They're all
I
kinda-
think it's fair
yeah.
for me.
I think we don't need to really fix this thing because one, I think Chad and I will give too much away.
Mhm.
And
No,
you
let's
guys
fix
already
it. Let's fix it right now.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's do some. Come on, come on.
we've
Hey.
already pretty much in how we were rating, we've already said a lot of the issues that it had. I think one of the biggest faults though is Uhura should have been with the crew the whole time.
Mhm.
Because when they got on the bird of prey, she could read and speak Klingon fluently. So it would have been no problem. She would have said, you need to push this button here, this, do this, do this, do this, almost become a de facto leader. And I think that would have, I think you would have gotten more women to say, oh, cool. Okay, Uhura's taking charge, and just because she was the one who could read it and speak it and understand it. So I think that would have been a good, instead of her just saying, oh, hey, I'm part of the crew. Okay, I'll get you, I'll beam you on the ship and then I'll meet you there. That's the only thing I would really add to it. If you guys, John or Shane, if you want to add anything that you think you should have changed, otherwise.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Well, with that, everyone, we appreciate you guys all listening or watching, however you view this podcast. So until next time.
Crash and burn.
These Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast and is not affiliated with this movie or TV series. We would love to hear from you. Please contact us by leaving a comment below or by emailing us TheseSciFiGuys@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, or share this podcast with someone else who enjoys some science fiction.